All right, welcome back everybody to the Career Readiness Video Podcast. We have our hosts, Chelsea and Amber today, and we have our awesome special guest, Becca Schwartz. So Becca is an alumni of the university, and she's going to be talking about salary negotiation today, so everyone's favorite scary subject ever. So I'm going to open it up for Becca to kind of talk about herself, any background story she wants to give, and just kind of what you've been doing after graduation. So welcome, Becca, to our podcast.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So yes, I'm an alumni of UCM. I haven't been out too long. I graduated in December. So, about 6 months I've been out. And since then, I am currently in a role at BML which is an advertising agency in Kansas City. And then previously to that, I made a quick switch. I was at a yellow trucking company in Overland Park. I worked as the social media coordinator for a short period and then moved to this role at BML. So I already have a little experience under my belt. And so it's just really great being out in the world and being able to put those skills into use, all those years, sitting in the classroom, talking about all these things, and then finally getting to like push forward and, do something, kind of build, whatever that looks like, and just be in the community. So I really enjoyed being out after graduation, but I'm really excited I get to kind of give back to UCM just because I had a great experience, and I hope everyone else does, because I think it's just a great university, and just from what I got, I just hope everyone else can have that same experience. So
that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy.
I have love for my school. I have a lot of pride, so I'm always happy to give back.
We appreciate you so much. Oh, okay. I just love that.
Awesome. Well, Becca, can you tell us a little bit about like your salary negotiation story? What was the outcome? What was that like for you? Can you just talk through that with us of what that experience was?
Yeah, so I think like most seniors about to graduate, trying to figure out a new job, maybe like moving locations. For me, it was moving from Warrensburg back to Kansas City. So that was stressful, trying to figure out what that was going to look like. And there's just a lot of stress that senior year. So on top of that, you gotta be looking for jobs, thinking about that salary negotiation. There's just a lot of things happening. And so I finally landed my first job, so yellow trucking company in Overland Park, and I was really excited because they want me, that's great, I secured an interview. And so we gone through that, and we finally, they nailed it down. We're like, yep, really want you, sign the contract, great. And I was actually working at my job at the advising center at the time when I got a phone call, and they said, what are you looking at for your salary? Like what kind of negotiation, kind of asking me questions. And I drew a blank.
Too adult too soon.
Yeah, I was just, and no one had told me hey, we're going to call you, kind of talk us through. It was just very spur of the moment. And my brain was not in that mode. And I just was I was just well, it's off the top of my head, I gave a range, and was like, oh, thank you. Okay, we'll get back to you. I thought, okay, great. So I went and met with my advisor that I worked with at the time, and I was telling her about this. And I'm too embarrassed to say the range because I know it was way too low, but I told her, and she goes, are you kidding me? And I was like, no, why? And she was like, Becca. And I was like, what's wrong? She's like, that's way too low. She's like, hold on a second. So she called Jessica Johnson, who was my advisor, and love her to death. And so her and my advisor were pretty close. And so she's like, let me get Jessica on the phone. So we called Jessica, get her on the phone, explain to her. She goes, oh, no. You need to up those numbers big time, girl. And I was like, really? And she was like, Becca, listen to me. She's like, you are worth far more than what you gave that woman. She's like, you need to up it, because between your experiences, your capabilities, what you've done here at UCM, she's like, you need to be your own advocate. You need to hike that up higher. She's like, girl, you don't need to settle for that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I literally got off the phone with Jessica, called them back and said, listen, I kind of played the dumb card. And I was like, listen, this is my first job. I don't know what I'm necessarily doing. I said, I just, in the moment, that just kind of was my first glance at what it should be. But now I've had some more time to think about it. And the lady was really nice and was just like, I understand. Thanks for getting back to us so quickly, and we'll take that into consideration. And they ended up giving me within the range that I'd given them in the second round. So that was really great, because I thought, oh gosh, I was like, what if I had not made that call? And, I would have received a far less, salary range than what I thought. And so then I called Jessica and I said, thanks, I appreciate you. Because I said, if you hadn't have given me that little boost of confidence, that wouldn't have that wouldn't have happened. And, it's hard because I think, when I was in school, they did like for your last semester, there was like a capstone course for, we talked a little bit about salary negotiations. We never really dove in. So having Jessica there to kind of be there for me and just kind of knowing career services kind of had my back in that big decision, just because, you talk about, look at different salaries, look and see what you're going to be making potentially depending on the role. And it's just very scary. And you don't want to come off as too arrogant because, you're fresh out of college, don't have a whole lot of experience, but you're like, I got a lot of student debt and I gotta pay bills and I want to make some money. So it's kind of a catch-22. So it's kind of nice to kind of have that reassurance. And that was what I think really helped me, because otherwise I wouldn't have known, hey, you're worth more than that. You need to, kind of be your own advocate in that situation. So I'm very grateful to Jessica Johnson. You are a hero for me. So thank you.
That's awesome. Well, and I love how you just talked through and described, the fact that you made that second phone call. I think for a lot of folks, that would have been really, really hard. Can you talk through, like, how did you go about deciding that's what you were going to do? And how did you have the confidence to do that? And even just what does that conversation look like? Because I think about myself, if I was even putting myself back in that, back in my recent college days, of like, I don't know that I would have had the guts to do that.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing was just that, like, Jessica and my advisor were pumping me up so much, knowing that they were like, we see the value in you. Why not share that with the world? Like, go for it, girl. Like, you have nothing to lose. You are you are about to graduate college. You have all this behind you. It's time to put it to work. And so I think I was on this like high of like, what? Yeah. Like that empowerment just kind of got me ready to just kind of tackle the phone call. And even when I called back, I was kind of in my head, like, what am I going to say? How am I going to say? And so I think the biggest thing was just saying, hi, I'm calling back. I just was like, I've had some more time to really think about, my skill set and just kind of my experiences and what that looks like in a salary sense. And I would like to kind of revise that previous statement and just say that this is kind of where I think my skill sets are, and that should reflect in this salary range. Just kind of explaining it in that sense, I think really helped, because then they're like, no, that makes total sense. Like, considering your resume and everything you've shown us so far, we see that. We absolutely see that value. So thank you for calling us back. And they were really nice about it. So I think that also helped, because again, it's that I'm scared because I'm trying to nail down a new job and try to make sure I do everything right. But at the same time, it's just like, there's that gut wrenching fear, because you talk about it in class all the time. Here's what you do, how you do it. And now you're in the moment, and it is just like a panic attack. Just, it's a crazy moment to be in, because you're trying to be that adult, but you're also like, I'm still in college. Like, I'm still, it's the first time you're adulting in this sense. So yeah, it's just, I think it was that pump up, that empowerment I got just was enough. And then just in myself, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I do have a lot of skills and experiences. Why not? Like, so it was definitely a memorable experience that going forward, I think we'll forever remember and be like, you know what? Yeah, I am worth more than that. And I'm going to shoot for the stars. So yeah.
Well, I think too, even that, just being open and honest with them, I like how you approached it, and being able to say, hey, I've taken some time to think about this, and here's where I see my value. And so I think that too, of also being honest and genuine with them and the employer, I think helps too. So yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is
great story. Great.
Yeah, I think I love how you really have assessed it from so many different angles, because I think really taking that leap is so incredible. Because students, I don't know if they would be like, okay, I already dug the hole, I might as well sit in it. Like, that's what I got. And there's only so much of a timeline that realistically I think you have. So I commend you for doing that. And I think it's really important, and you've already hit on it, is that like taking a chance on yourself is so important, because the worst that's going to happen is they're going to be like, no, but then really do you want that in the first place if they're not even willing to take a chance on you as well? So good for you. That is so awesome, Becca. Good. I'm just so proud of you. So, in understanding kind of like your experience and reflecting on that and all that stuff, I'm curious to know, like, what kind of advice would you give to students, or just professionals in general about being confident in negotiating their offer, and even if they do happen to have to call back or whatever that process looks like what advice would you give to them in hindsight?
First thing I would say is do your research. Do your research throughout your college career. I know when I was a freshman, I really dug into that because I wasn't sure if I was going to stay with the major and the path that I was going to. And so that kind of kickstarted kind of me to stay within that major, kind of look at those roles. But throughout, see how the world is changing. Are there more open positions in that industry, or, wherever you're looking to go, or have you talked to somebody within the industry, kind of get an idea of kind of what their role is like, or, what they're maybe not necessarily full blown like their salary, but, just be able to kind of have that advocate. Because that was kind of nice for me. I knew some people in the industry, so I was able to say like what kind of roles and kind of what kind of, like how you can move like within different roles, or kind of how like moving up the ladder, what that looks like from a salary standpoint. So just being aware of that, especially your senior year. Don't do what I did. It's exciting to be, interviewing and, making sure that you're, getting that next round and you're securing that contract at the end, but know what you're going into salary wise, because if you don't, that's where you can get stuck. And again, I think I was lucky that I had Jessica and my advisor to kind of help me and say, you know what, no, go higher, go for it. So depending on who, what the situation is, I would just have that number in your mind, even talk to your faculty and say, hey, I'm job searching. I just want to know kind of what a good range might be, or kind of if we are in salary negotiations, kind of what does that look like? Or can we do a little practice of kind of what that looks like? Because in that moment, it is hard. But knowing that you have people behind you and you've kind of done your research, they're going to be very impressed by that, because they're like, hey, she knows what she's talking about. He or she, that's important to know. So I would just say definitely do your research, because that's going to be monumental going in. So that way you're like, I know what I want. I'm confident. Here we go. But also just being your own advocate, like I kind of have for my scenario, just be confident in yourself, your skill sets. Don't be afraid to kind of implement that and kind of say, hey, I've done this, this, and this. I've got a lot of great experience that I could bring to your company, and really, really show yourself off, because you've worked for how many years, to get this degree, so you can go out in the world and do what you need to do. And, why not kind of celebrate yourself a little bit and kind of share kind of what you've done to get to this point. And so I think that's hard sometimes, because people are like, I don't want to come off as, I don't want to, be arrogant or anything, but like they want to know who you are, because if they're going to hire you, they want to understand kind of what they're buying, in a sense, kind of who are they bringing on and into their company. So you might as well go for it and say, you know what, I am confident in what I've done and my experience is what I'm going to do, and kind of rehearse it a little bit, kind of, whether it's with a friend or an advisor or faculty member, just kind of have, I won't say a script, but just kind of have like something ready, just to be like, here's kind of why I'm backing it up with this, this, and this. And that'll blow them away, I think, just because a lot of people are just like, well, you have an open position, you might as well hire me. Like there's not, I think that can be tricky for some people. So if you go in kind of with this, confidence and like you're ready to go, ready to work, like I think that'll just be enough for them to be like, yeah, we'll pay you whatever you want. Don't worry about it, So, and that's hard for everybody. I can talk to a tree. So for me, I'm like, it's no big deal. I can talk your leg off all day, but it's not, so you just kind of have to kind of assess where you're at, kind of where you want to go, and just be honest with them. They've all been in college at one point, they get it. And you'd be surprised how often they're like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. I get it. You're just getting started. And I actually got told, they're like, you're just so cute because you're all new and you're just figuring it out. And I was like,
that's
okay,
nice.
like, a good thing or a bad thing? Like the lady on the phone just thought I was so cute. She was like, I can just tell you're so new into the world and like you're just trying to make it. And she's like, I'm proud of you. And I was like, I don't know you from Adam. Who are? I was just like, so does that mean you're gonna
hire
on that? Like, yeah, I'm like, you're gonna give me? And she was just like, oh, so cute. And I was just like, I didn't know what to say. Thank God it was a phone call, because my face was just like, how?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like,
I'll put that. Should I put that on my resume? I'm cute. Hire me.
Yeah, I was like, so does that mean I did it? Like, am I good? Like, yeah, it was just, It was too funny. And I told my mom that, and she was like, they told you were cute. And I was like, well, I think they just felt bad for me because here I am spilling my guts, like, here I am, help me out, please. And, and I think they just were like, oh, she's just so cute. Look at her. She's all professional and, first job. And I was like, I got the job. So I'm not going to say it didn't work in my favor. Like, it just, I kind of was like, hey, take it. If you, take what you get, just kind of have to roll with the punches, and it works. So yeah, I think a lot of companies, a lot of people in, hiring, I think they take a lot of pity on new graduates because they understand kind of that, and especially in these times when, we've still got COVID running around, and, it's just, I think they're very understanding, and they're like, hey, I was there at one point, so no worries. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, Becca, you talked about, a few of the resources that you used. Are there other key resources or tips that you would encourage students to explore when they're thinking about negotiating their salary?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, definitely, I know one thing I learned from being in going to see Jessica in the Career Service Center is that using LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. And I didn't realize how powerful it was until I really started to use it. And now I've landed 2 jobs because of it. And so, definitely reach out to somebody. If, look at your connections. If you've seen someone graduate from UCM, reach out to them, say, hey, fellow mule. I've said snouts out, and people are like, oh, that's so cool, snouts out. So, just like, hey, snouts out. Like I'm curious, I want to go into this particular industry, or like, I really like the company you're in. Could you talk to me a little bit about, this or that? Or could we maybe grab a coffee, or, just kind of use your connections, because there's a lot of people out there and everybody loves to talk about themselves and what they do. And so, start like reaching out to people, talk to career services and see, maybe they know somebody that they can reach out to, if like my dad knew some people, so he got me connected. So it's really a game of connections, and just being able to expand and kind of just say, hey, I'm looking to branch out, or I really want to get into this. What can you tell me? And those are going to be some amazing connections for you to find that job, or find that industry, that niche that you really want to get into. I know it's scary. I know for me, even for someone who's very like outgoing and talkative, I was like, I don't know these people from Adam. Why would I message them? What if they don't message me back? Like that's scary. And, sometimes you don't get a message back. Sometimes it's just kind of the luck of the draw if someone checks their LinkedIn or not. But I've even had people reach out to me and say, hey, I know you graduated and, this and that. Do you know somebody? And, it's amazing just how many connections you have. You're like, hey, yeah, I think I've seen somebody. Let me connect you. Or, it's just a very powerful tool. So just kind of having that resource on top of what you have on campus, I think is just really monumental as you're looking for that job and figuring out the salary negotiation piece.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, LinkedIn is one of our favorite things because it's so much more than just a job platform, because really it's the foundation of like that digital relationship piece of like, you can really connect with so many people and just learn about their stories and how you can take that in advice to kind of impact in your own journey. So that is awesome call out, Becca. But I would love to know that after learning all your experience and everything that you shared today, do you think that you would negotiate another job offer in the future?
Absolutely. And I will probably continue to bug Jessica Johnson because I love
all of us. We're here to help.
I'm like, I just think I'll continue. I'm like, she'll just forever be like my go-to, be like, I have a question. Can you help me? Like, yeah. I mean, if I didn't have Jessica, I think I'd probably be fine, but love that woman. So anyway, but yeah, I think I would, just after the experience I had in my first job. I think just looking at, before, how nervous I was, but how much better I felt after I had that call and, was able to secure that, salary range I wanted. I think that just showed me that, you just have to be your own advocate. You just need to reach out and be willing to kind of take that leap of faith, and have that confidence behind you, because if you do, things will happen and kind of move in the way you want them to. And so I think, in the future that may look a little different. It may be, a little bit more of a fight for that salary, just depending on where I go and kind of, at that point where my skill sets are. But I think just the back of my head, I'll have Jessica saying, you got this, go shoot for the stars. Like, just kind of have that in the back of my head that, you just gotta fight for it. So
we all need our own personal Jessica Johnson.
Right?
I think so, yeah.
Find your Jessica Johnson. You can borrow ours. So you need to find your own too.
And like, I just need like a mini her, or like, just something. I just need her here with me, just like give me life advice. Cause like, there are just days I'm like, I sit in my job and I'm like, what would Jessica do? What would Jessica say? Like, it's just, there are moments when I'm just like, oh, I miss her.
Put that on a t-shirt. What would Jessica do? She's gonna love this. Oh my God.
Yeah, she is. She's gonna be loving every bit of it. Becca, you've talked about a lot of great things today. What else would you add or share? Like, what else would you want students to know? Anything else you'd add or share for the group today?
I would definitely say use your resources on campus, whether that is career services, the advising center. I think I'm a little biased because I worked for the advising center my whole length of college. So, but I would rave about both offices every single day, and other offices on campus. Reach out to, your advisors, or reach out to faculty. They're there for a reason. They are not scary people. You just kind of have to go in and say, here's where I am. Here are my concerns. Here's where I want to go. How do I get there? And I promise they will deliver because they truly care about you. They value what you want to make of your time here in college. And then afterwards, you just kind of have to foster those relationships, because you're one of how many thousand students. It's not high school anymore. It's, you're one of, they see a lot of students every day. So you got to keep that in mind, that, they're not just always focused on you. There's always, so you got to make yourself known, and you got to say, hey, can I check in with you, after maybe a week or so, every month, just kind of having that consistency. And that's kind of what I did with my advisor, with Jessica, just being able to check in and just say, hey, here's where I am, just a little check in, here's what I'm thinking for next time, or here's kind of what I want to have on the horizon. And, they'll pull through for you. Jessica pulled through, when I was looking through jobs, and, my advisor, when I had some glitches come up and things happen. So you just kind of have to reach out, even if it's scary, just say, hey, here's my concerns, here's what I want to do, because at the end of the day, they're going to be there for you, and they're going to be cheering you on. So just making sure you're taking advantage of them, because they're here for you, and they're always going to be behind you, cheering for you. So
perfect. That's awesome.
That sounds like a good sign off. I like that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
a good
great.
way to end.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you so much, Becca, for coming on, telling your story, really giving us the whole details of everything. I think you really shared a lot of different perspectives with everyone that's going to view this, and I hope everyone learns things about it. And if you do need resources, of course, if you want to connect with Becca on LinkedIn, can we do that?
Yes, of course.
Awesome. So you have an advocate there. You can advocate and kind of connect with us too. We're here for students the entire time you're here, free for life as alumni. So come connect with us if you're struggling, or maybe you just want to check in, chat, figure out what kind of resources you need to move forward. But again, thank you so much, Becca. We appreciate you. It was so good to connect with you. And Jess is going to love this hype. Can't wait to share. But okay, this is the end of the episode, but thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and close out. So bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Becca.
Thank you, guys.